black, white, and grey marbles.
Yes.
There was no colour.
Yep. And
And
Bridget Eckert did the leafing, or her company
yes,
did it?
from Art Gilding.
Yes.
Yeah, she and her husband Hans. I think his name is Hans.
That rings a bell. Yes. And it was real gold leaf, wasn't it? Cause
It wasn't Dutch metal. It was real
Yes.
gold leaf.
Yes.
Because Dutch metal eventually tarnishes,
Yes.
as we found out in the Treasury restaurant
Yes.
in the Intercontinental Hotel,
Yes.
because the walls were slightly damp.
Yes.
It was an incipient
Yeah. Right.
leak.
Yeah. And I seem to remember at the time of the State Bank, you having the two samples, and the gold was really gold.
So
and the
much
other,
richer.
you could see it was quite a
Yeah,
copy.
and the Dutch metal had this kind of haze over it,
Yes. Yes.
where it didn't have the same brilliance
Yes.
as the
Yeah. Nothing
Well,
like the
that
gold. And silver on 36. That was
silver
silver.
on 36, gold on 35.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Again, it was just really to make a change,
Yes.
and not really to make a statement.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they wouldn't be the same.
Yes.
If it was paint, they would have been two different colors.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that then had, so that was on a vaulted ceiling, and then the walls were black Chodapak with
Black
a beveled
Chodapak.
edge.
In small panels that were had beveled edges.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a kind of as if it was joinery
Mm.
rather than glass.
Mm.
Was the idea of it.
Mm. And then the lift surrounds were a
Black
bull-nosed, yeah, specially made.
Yeah, in near a Marquina.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then at the top of them was the
A lift
Yeah.
whole thing that we had specially made for us.
Yes.
For all of it was like two shells,
yes.
one above the other.
And was that something that you designed?
Yeah,
Yes.
and then we had to search someone to make
Yes.
them.
Yes. In Australia, they made in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, because in those days you could draw things, but now you 3D model it.
Yes.
So in those cases, I presume you drew a certain extent, then they probably made a plaster cast or something just to get it right, and then they blew it from that.
I can't remember the actual process
Mm.
of it. I know there would have been a drawing
Mm.
of it,
Mm.
and who and how we found a glassmaker
Yes.
to
Yes.
do it,
Yes.
where they came, but someone was able to. They would have made a mold
Yeah.
and made them in a mold.
And blown it into the mould
Blown
probably.
into the
Then they were all the same.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a milk white
Yes.
glass.
Yes. And George, why that
It's
shape?
extraordinary how we actually found these people
Yes.
to do things
Yes.
then.
Yes.
Searched them out, and there was all of this skill available,
Yes.
and the time and money in which to sort of do these things
Yes.
for this project.
Yes.
Yeah.
That certainly was the thing that amazed me about Marsh Friedman, that you had contacts to all these special people. And they were there, and I don't know what they did in their normal life, but when they came to you,
No.
they loved the challenges, like commercial furniture. They'd love the challenge of the joinery. And similarly with the girl with the gold leafing, and there was somebody that made light fittings, I've forgotten their names, out at St Peter's or somewhere, made beautiful little light fittings and brass fittings.
Art Metal, I think. David Williams.
No, that's the stainless steel. Yes, beautiful stainless steel. Somebody that, I've forgotten their name, I know Neville used them a lot to make special lights, and they make brass fittings and stuff, really detailed stuff. But those people are really hard to find. But you had sort of all of them at your fingertips to be able to use. Frank Kletzmeyer, people like that are real specialists.
These were the lights in the alcoves.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah. And then,
And they were mixed metals and screens
yes,
and perforated metals and mesh
Yes.
all mixed together.
Yes. And to give a pattern onto the alcove,
Onto
wasn't
the
it?
alcove,
Yes.
and there are 4 different designs.
Yes. Yes.
You did those.
No, I don't think I didn't
No.
do those. No.
I
did the-
It might have been Arthur.
I did the corridors. I think Arthur did that
The
because
light fittings.
I think so, because it was a part of the stair that went up. There it is there. Oh, there's
Yeah.
one there. Because I think he did that whole thing, which was the stair. Or it might have been Colin Brown. I know Colin Brown did that. Might have been Arthur or Colin, I'm not sure. Not sure who did that. That was definitely Colin Brown. And there's one of the recesses there.
Window cleaners.
Yes, yes. So that's the lift lobby. Then at the end of the lift lobby,
I can't think who those people were who made those lights.
yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's like a French sounding name or something. Can't think of it. So then at the end then, big glass doors and the writing and the handles. Do you want to talk about the handles? Because there's a whole suite
There's
of
a whole
handles.
series of handles that were all specially designed
Yes.
for the ebony handles that Colin Coates made for the reception area on level
Yes.
35,
Yes.
and then solid Macassar ebony.
Yes. Yes.
And then the handles for the doors into the reception areas on level 36.
6. Yes.
Uh,
Which was to the dining room, that one, to the dining room and to the boardroom, the main boardroom.
yeah. It's in the last page of that.
Yeah, so that's,
There's one photograph of the handle itself.
yes. Yes,
There.
yes. And was there an inspiration for those, or that was having some fun on the door handle?
I think it was a sort of a progressive thing of the design of the 2 doors into those reception areas, which were, they had the same pattern, one was translucent, one was solid.
That's right, yeah, that's right, yeah.
And
So the dining room was transparent, so you could see through, because I can see the corridor beyond.
And then on the other side, it was a solid door, and there is. Does it show in that other?
Ah, it's back this way. Yeah, it's back this way.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And that would have then been privacy for the chairman and the boardroom.
Yes, and there also. Yeah, probably between the reception area and
Yeah.
the chairman's boardroom thing, it would be a solid door,
Yeah,
but the patterns would have been the same.
yeah.
Uh,
And then some of them are glass and some of them are inlaid.
yeah, but they were all the same. They were all the same kind of. Yes.
Yes.
The same kind of
Pattern, isn't it?
pattern,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
there's a name for that kind of grid.
Yes.
There's a real architectural name for that. We just
Okay. Order? Don't know. Yes.
And from memory, I think that was worked on with Colin Brown, those
Yes.
doors.
Yes.
And so they were all consistent all the way through.
Yes.
All 6 of them, or whatever
Yes.
they were.
Yes. So let's have a look at the boardroom,
Yeah.
which I think you'd have to say is one of the main rooms of the bank, being
Yeah.
where the board meets. So it obviously has grandeur in that regard.
Well, and absolute formality.
Yes. Get this last.
And it was in the center of the northern elevation, and I can't. It's in the planning. It sort of developed into a hexagonal
Yes.
octagon.
Yes. Octagon. Yes.
Octagon.
Yes.
Why it was an octagon rather than a square room
Yes.
was probably something that had just really, in the planning, that really looked nice.
Yes. Yes.
And was what determined it.
Yes.
And then once the veneer was the flame mahogany
Mhm.
was selected, then the kind of ornamental panel ceiling came in, really just to sort of, to begin with, to show off the veneer
Exactly. Yes.
in a rather flamboyant manner. And it also came from the thing where Nick Whitlam had said, make it look as if we've always been here.
Mm.
And so the idea was that the boardroom had a kind of historic quality to it. And I kept on saying that the inspiration was John Soane's Bank of England. Whether that was something I made up or not, I can't remember.
But they believed it. Yeah. Yes. And they'd aspire to that. Yes. Yes. Yes.
But we put, it had false skylights,
Yes.
and all the sort of kind of sewn
Mm.
tricks.
Mm. And the ceiling is a homage to the American bar in Venice?
No. I mean, it really is more.
No, it's not, is it? No.
Hmm?
No, it's not. I thought it stepped
No.
up, but it doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
No, it was really.
And in that case, it's interesting because the veneer is framed.
The veneer is framed, and it's all symmetrical, and it changes direction as it goes around.
Yes.
And then there were, because we had this giant hunk of granite as the board table, 2-point-something meters diameter,
Something.
I think, and that had to be in the building,
Yeah.
in a crate, before the crane came down, and sat there while the room was built around it. And Keith Harris had the immediate idea that before the level 37 slab was poured, to put in 4 ferrules into the underside of the slab,
Yes.
so that the tabletop could be lifted
Yes.
and the carpet installed, and then the legs put down,
Yes.
and then the top put down on
That's
top of it.
That's right. Yes.
It was that sequence.
Yes.
And so to disguise where the ferrules were is kind of established the pattern of the ceiling, with those 4
Yes.
positions.
And that's where the lights are, isn't it?
And
the lights
then
hang from those.
there were those 4
That's right. Yes.
pendant lights in that location.
Mm.
So that those areas, they can all be removed to sort of support the tabletop. And those 4 lights were done in alabaster,
Yes.
made out of solid alabaster, made in Italy, and then
Mm.
sent over. Yet another kind of thing of, let's use something that's
Yes.
precious.
Amazing. And just on the table was Australian granite from Adelaide, was it? What was it? Christmas
Yeah, it was
Christmas
a
bush. I
pink.
can't remember.
It was a pink granite. Um, and it was from Monier in South Australia.
Oh, okay.
Does
Yeah.
that ring a bell? And the four legs had a kind of geometric pattern.
Central pedestal.
No, four legs.
Because it was just so big.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was seriously thick, wasn't it?
Yeah, that probably would have been 40 or 50 millimeters
Yes.
thick. And the idea of using that kind of stone was when we had done the construction company over in the North Shore.
Layton's. Layton's. Yeah.
I was talking to the guy from Monier about the flooring for the entry lobby, and out of a sort of offhand remark, he said, "Do you know anybody who can use a hunk of granite that's, 14 or 1500 wide by 3 point something long?" And I went, "A board table?" So that was madly rushed in manufacture to get that in the building at Layton's.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
At Layton's.
Yes, right.
That was the first one
Right.
with
Yes.
this hunk of granite.
Yes.
And so when this thing came up and we needed a board table, I thought, well, let's do the same thing in Rangmonier.
Yes.
And said, would you have something that kind of size in this pinky beige granite, locals of South Australia.
In that case, they quarried it specially for the bank, didn't they?
Yeah.
And wasn't it the largest piece of stone made in Australia at the time?
Could well be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that was the story. But I remember that.
It does seem.
Yes.
Because of the size of it, where the one for Layton's was easy because it was controlled by the width.
Yes.
But this one, because of the diameter,
Yes.
kind of pushed their capacity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then so it was. Did you go down to Adelaide to see the actual piece of stone?
No,
No. So they made it and manufactured the whole thing in Adelaide
the whole thing was done,
and just
the
crated
top
up.
and the legs.
Yes.
And the legs were probably maybe 150, 200 diameter, and they were octagonal in the shape of the room and had a sort of continuous geometric pattern on the
Yes.
legs. And I think each leg had a slightly different pattern on it,
Of course.
of course, which of course hardly anybody would get down on their hands and knees and look at it.
Yeah. But if they do, there's a surprise there.
Yes,
Somebody's
look
bought.
at- yeah.
And the legs were the same material and made in Adelaide.
Same granite.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I remember them. I wasn't there, but I remember on the weekend they lifted it in, and it was in a crate. Then they could put the facade on,
Yes.
and then they built, as you said, they built the room
They
around
built
it.
the room around, and that just sat there
There.
in the crate
Yes.
for the entire production of the room.
Yes.
Like a kind of sarcophagus.
Yes. 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 So that's the table, and then talk about the chairs and the rug that it's on.
The rug has got another one that, again, it's the same octagon, I think. And
Yes.
made for us by Wycliffe, and I think in America. And the chairs were the same AutoZap desk chair, the same chairs that were in Nick Whitlam's room, in a covered in a green mohair velvet with leather piping.
Yes.
But
I just stopped that for a minute.
and they were quite